Hello, this is the Council on Independent Fundamental Bible Doctrine. I have my next video in the Rapture Timeline series called the Assassination Principle. And we're going to look at how the timeline is demonstrated in the would-be assassination of a couple individuals. Okay? And so we're going to look at that and get a clear picture of the timeline from this would-be assassination. Okay? Let's go ahead. Revelation 7:3, saying, "Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads." Hold off on the wrath till the 144,000 are sealed. And understand, the 144,000 are being sealed in chapter 7, Revelation, in chapter 7, where the tribulation saints are in heaven. They're in heaven in 7, tribulation over. Okay, then they're being sealed in their foreheads because their ministry is during the wrath of God. Okay, as we're going to see. "And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads." So the seal of God in the forehead is to protect the 144,000 from God's wrath. Meaning if they didn't have the seal, they would be destroyed by the wrath of God. Meaning the wrath is on everyone who's not sealed. Everyone. Okay? Revelation 14:3. "And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. They are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and the Lamb." They're resurrected people. Right before chapter 7 is chapter 6. The sixth seal is where the herald of the day of the Lord and his wrath occurs. Where the sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, stars fall from heaven, earth is moved, heaven is moved, men mourn as they see the face of Christ coming in the clouds, and he's bringing his wrath. That is the Olivet Discourse, Day of the Lord signs. And the Olivet Discourse tells us that is immediately after the tribulation of those days. Tribulation ends. Sixth seal occurs immediately after the tribulation. Sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, stars fall from heaven, earth is moved, heaven is moved, men mourn as they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, and he's bringing his wrath. Then, in chapter 7, the tribulation saints appear in heaven in 7, tribulation over, and that's when the 144,000 are sealed, getting ready for their ministry so that the wrath of God doesn't hurt them. Because in chapter 8, the wrath of God begins when the seventh seal is broken and the trumpet and bowl wrath of God begins. Okay, that's when these people are serving in the day of the Lord, after the tribulation. Okay, and they are sealed in their foreheads so that the wrath of God does not hurt them. Okay, and they are resurrected saints. They're first fruits, redeemed from among men. So even resurrected bodies would be susceptible to the wrath of God if they hadn't been sealed in their foreheads. Resurrected bodies, new bodies. All right, Revelation 14:3. Well, we read that one. Let's go to the next one. Revelation 11:5. "And if any man will hurt them," being the two witnesses, hurt. Notice the word hurt. "Fire proceedeth out of the mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must be in this manner killed. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them, and kill them. And their dead, D-E-A-D, bodies shall lie in the street." And nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. This is a lie. We know the Bible tells us one of the two witnesses is Elijah. Elijah. Okay. And the other one is mostly thought to be Moses, and I believe that's probably the way it's going to be. Okay. But we know one of them is Elijah. Okay. These are in their spiritual bodies. They're in spiritual bodies and they are killed. Dead. Okay? So they're in their spiritual bodies and they can still die. The 144,000 are first fruits. Okay? And they're sealed in their foreheads so the wrath of God does not kill them. See, the new body that you receive is not indestructible. It's not going to live forever because you're superhuman, super indestructible, okay? You're going to live forever because the wages of sin is death. And in the afterlife, there will be no sin. Okay? There's not going to be any sin. There's not going to be any death. Okay? But your body, if it was existing within the confines of a sinful world, you would still be able to be killed by the wrath of God, and as the two witnesses were, or will be, killed by in the second half of the tribulation. Okay? So here's the thing. If the 144,000 can be killed, and they're sealed in their foreheads so that the wrath of God won't hurt them, okay, then the two witnesses can be killed as well. See, that's the thing. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. The great and dreadful, why is it great and dreadful? Because the day of the Lord is where the wrath is. Okay? It's not in the 70th week. Even the wrong post-trib, pre-wrath view, the right doctrine, but the wrong timeline, okay, all of them have the wrath of God in the Daniel's 70th week. And that is so wrong. The wrath of God is in the day of the Lord, the 1,000-year day of the Lord, which is heralded to be getting ready to start immediately after the tribulation of those days. The sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, stars fall from heaven, earth is moved, heaven is moved. Men mourn as they see the Son of Man coming in clouds and is bringing his wrath. That's the herald that the wrath is getting ready to start, not over with. Okay? Daniel 8 tells us that the abomination of desolation lasts for 6.3 years, 2,300 days. And if you don't understand that, then you didn't watch the full hour video. People, if you watch that video, the wrath of God is in the day of the Lord, not in the 70th week, you will have a commanding understanding of the end times timeline. Commanding. No better in the world. The only timeline where every minute detail fits perfectly. You don't have the two witnesses being assassinated by the God who assigned them to do the work. They are not sealed in their foreheads. If they were during the same time as the 144,000, they would be dead by God's hand. They're not in the same time frame. They're in a different time. The two witnesses are before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. The 144,000 are in the day of the Lord. Then he's going to come and smite the earth. After the tribulation of those days, when the sun goes dark, the moon goes dark, stars fall from heaven, earth is moved, heaven is moved, men mourn as they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, and he's bringing his wrath at the sixth seal, before the trumpet and bowl judgments. The sixth seal has the immediately after the tribulation of those days, day of the Lord signs. And then they're in heaven in chapter 7, tribulation over. That's when the 144,000 are sealed in their foreheads to keep them from the wrath of God. And then in chapter 8, the wrath of God begins in the day of the Lord. Seventh seal is broken, and a trumpet and bowls subsequently come out. God is not trying to assassinate his own witnesses. And the Bible is very clear. If you're not sealed in the forehead, you're going to suffer the wrath of God. It's two different time periods. God is not trying to assassinate his own witnesses. All right. Thanks a lot. I hope this helps out. I'll see you at the next one.